are I have paid off my student loans. I just saw Spider-Man No Way Home. And um dang, what was the other one?
Ooh, that must be the lie.
Oh, I am starting a new job.
Oh, okay. Ooh, we talked about this, so
Play me some pimpin', man.
This the coldest podcast you'll ever hear. The way we coming with it, people witnessing greatness. Be a part of the journey. I would say it's perfect timing, but it's God's timing. We locked in a time capsule with this one. We got timeless topics. Guess what? I'm your mother's favorite host. Your little brother's OG. I go by the name of Armand Lindsay, but the neighborhood call me Big Pig. I want to welcome y'all to Big Boss Talk, Season 2, The Rebirth. Let's ride, and welcome to a Black Man Thing.
cool. What's up, everybody? This is Armand Lindsay coming back with the podcast Big Boss Talk. Sorry, that was my speaker, but it's going down. But anyway, coming back with Big Boss Talk. I got a huge special guest, a good friend of mine, a good friend of my wife's. We've been friends for a very, very long time. It's kind of shocking how long we've been friends and just how we stayed together along the path. So, with this series of the podcast, I'm doing something a little different. I want to interview and talk to people in different career paths, whether it's people in tech, whether it's people in banking, whether it's people that are biologists, just showing and highlighting black people, minorities doing different things than the average of what people tell you to do, right? So the stereotypical thing is for black men, of course, is, all right, play football, try to make it to the league, do what you can. If that doesn't work, then, some people feel like the fast money is the way to go, like selling drugs, which is always the craziest thing I ever heard of. And I don't know, I'll have, once we get through the introduction, I'll kind of let Hannah explain, some of the stereotypical things that she may have heard along her journey of just what people should be doing. So, that leads me to my introduction. So I got Hannah Hart. She's on with us. Hannah is, you gotta help me, business systems analyst for business technology. Okay, Hannah is super decorated. She got her MS in information systems, her BS in computer science. She's been doing this for almost 4 years now. Hannah, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here, excited to share, kind of my journey. Where I'm just getting started, but just sharing, the beginning and where I see myself in the future.
That's awesome. Well, listen, I know you were going to be destined for great things. Me and my wife, Maya, we always knew Hannah was going to be the one. She was going to be our rich auntie. So listen, we are excited to get into it. What we're going to do for the introduction, for some reason, give me 1 second. For what we're going to do for the introduction is we're going to do an icebreaker. So we're going to do 2 truths and a lie. You got your 2 truths and a lie, right?
I got my 2 truths and a lie.
Okay, well, give it to us. We're going to start off with the 2 truths and a lie. And I'm going to guess the lie because I know you.
Okay. Well, this one, like Armand said, I had to think about this one because, like he said, he has known me for a very long time. So I can't just make up, anything. He has a long history. So my 2 truths and a lie are, I have paid off my student loans. I just saw Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay. And, dang, what was the other one?
Ooh, that must be the lie.
Oh, I am starting a new job.
Oh, okay. Ooh, we talked about this, so dang. Who hasn't seen Spider-Man? So I don't know if that's the lie. But I do believe you paid off your student loans. And I know, because this is the previous conversation, that you have been looking for a new job. But I just don't know. Okay, look, I'm gonna go with the Spider-Man as the lie because I feel like the first one and the last one was too specific. I don't know, that just seems like too much like you. So it's Spider-Man.
Yeah, you got it right. It's Spider-Man.
Yes.
I wanted to see it. I think over the Christmas break, but I just did not make it to the movie theater to see it. But I am going to see it.
Okay, perfect. Well, look, let's get into it. We got a few series of questions. You're not hearing no echo, are you? Okay, great. So we got a few series of questions, and for one, we just want to start out with the number one question: what is it that you do for a career, and also, is it something that you always wanted to do?
So, what I am doing for a career right now, like Armand said, I am a business systems analyst. So, what that really means is I am a interpreter, kind of go between for your developers, your coders, those that are very heavy in tech, and then your business CEOs, executives. So, I am the middleman for those people. So, when anyone on the business side wants to, incorporate some kind of technology or wants to understand their analytics better or projections of how they are doing in their business, I kind of communicate that to the developers and coders. And we kind of I work with them to put together whether it's an application or some kind of spreadsheet or tool that will really enable the business side of business execs to be able to see kind of how their business is going or do something new.
Right.
So yeah, that is what I do. Is it what I always wanted to do? Short answer is no. My two careers since third grade, it was either going to be a teacher or going to be like in computer science.
Gotcha.
So I was either going to teach because I love kids, or I was going to be into computer science. I loved. We grew up where computers were just being, put into the household. Yeah. So we had a desktop and yes, dial up. So we had a computer in the house, and of course, like all kids, parents were like, okay, you want to play video games on this thing, figure out how to use it, fix it when it's broke. Yeah. So that's what I did. So I ended up going the computer science route. I thought I was going to be a full stack developer and coder. Got to college, got into computer science, and realized coding is cool, but I don't want to do it all day.
Gotcha.
So, and then that's how I got to my master's in information systems, which is really just merging business and technology. And that's how I got to this middleman role here.
Wow. So look, that's a lot to unpack. So for one, it sounds like you are the kind of how you explain the liaison for,
yes,
giving business the analytics and maybe providing them with a different solution. So to help them understand what they're trying to do. I think that's kind of what I heard, but definitely heard you were the middleman, the liaison. So it's always good to be the liaison because they need you. There's a gap, there's a knowledge gap, right, between the business and then what you offer, and you are able to bridge that gap. So that's awesome because there's a need. What I was gonna say is, what happened to being a teacher in computer science? Like, what made you, if that's all you wanted to be? Because I've had dreams too. Like, I wanted to be a mechanical engineer, and I can tell you what happened for me not to be a mechanical engineer. But I want to understand, what changed your mind.
Yeah, so I mean, I know we're gonna probably talk about this, but so money was one thing. Teacher salary compared to, developers and coding, is totally different. But I think honestly what it really came down to was in college, I understood that teachers had to write this big portfolio, almost kind of like dissertation type thing at the end of their undergrad year. And I was like, that is not me. I was like, I am not a huge writer. I cannot write huge papers. I think I did not do full IB in high school because there had to be some kind of paper thing that we had to write. And writing is not my strong point. So I said, that's okay. I'll stick to computers and I'll truck through this computer science field major.
Got you. That's cool. So, I mean, you mentioned the pay scale, right? It's a shame that, obviously teachers, a lot of people do like kids and a lot of people do want to educate, but the pay scale just doesn't give them the opportunity to live how they want to live, so they end up going different paths. And so, for me, I kind of did some research, on the job. You know what I'm saying? I did some research about what you do. So you don't have to tell us, like, that's too personal. I just want to let people know, like, the ranges of, if you go in this profession, what you have the opportunity to make. And so I just did it in Texas. I know you live in a different location, but Texas is about 58,000 a year to about 72,000 a year. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, and I will be very transparent. I think transparent about salary is how we grow.
Right.
So currently, after 3.5 years in, I'm at 95,000.
Gotcha.
So that's where I am. But I did start after a master's degree, first entry level at 60 or 65.
Gotcha.
So that's where I started. But yeah.
So listen, there you go, kids. If you want to be, make the big bucks, you know what you got to do. But next question is, what type of education do you need for your career? Degrees, certifications? Are there any type of extracurricular that you can get to maybe boost, that pay raise? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, so I think for a business like systems analyst role, if you have a computer science or some kind of technology degree, whether that's analytics, possibly even engineering, that can set you up very well for this role. I don't think you have to start there, right? So the other route is, which for most people, if you're not heavy into computer science, information systems is the best because that is the true middleman of it. It is going to give you half of your business courses and experience, and then your entry level technology courses that are going to give you the knowledge and language that you need to be able to communicate and get through to the developers and then also with the business execs.
Gotcha. Did you have a hard time, like, when you picked, because I know you went to Claflin, right?
Yes.
HBCU in the house, big Claflin.
You know.
Yeah, but was it hard? I'm trying to think how I want to ask this question. Was there a lot of help, guiding you through your, going to Claflin, having this major in mind? Was there a lot of resources for you to be able to dial in on, like, the specifics of what you really want to do?
Yeah, so I would say resources were there. Personally, for me, and I think probably every HBCU person will tell you this. My HBCU experience was more about the environment and the tools to set you up for success. Right? It wasn't specifically knowing how to code or knowing about specifics in computer science. Right. I did have excellent resources. My school personally has grown since I was there, but while I was in undergrad, I think my freshman year, I was able to get an internship with a national laboratory. Wow. And I was able to intern there. So I think their DOE, Department of Energy Minority, any minority serving institutions or programs that companies have, those were the best resources to me. And those resources were always in the forefront being at a HBCU, right? Gotcha. So those were really good resources.
So now this is a good question as well. So that's great to hear, because when I talk to people that go to PWIs, they feel like the resources was not there for them. Like, they feel like you really have to, grind, and, like, you gotta kind of like coming upon luck, like knowing the right people just to be like, hey, this is here for you, and you just said, like, hey, those resources were forefront. I will ask you, do you feel that a HBCU is better than a PWI, one? And do you feel like there's certain tiers of HBCU? Would you get the same resources from South Carolina State, that's right next door, than a Claflin?
So I think, of course, HBCU to me over a PWI all day. Of course. And that is for, and really the number one of that is for experience, right? Okay. It's experience, being around, all really majority Black students, having Black teachers, growing up, depending on where you grew up, you may have never had a Black teacher. All my teachers were Black or of a minority. So yeah, HBCU over PWI. And then repeat what you said the last one was.
So the last one was, do you feel like there's a tier in HBCUs? Do you get the same opportunities like how you said those opportunities were at the forefront? Do you feel like you could go to a South Carolina State and have those same resources?
So I think as resources for opportunities, yes. I feel like their HBCUs have it covered. They're going to make sure they're pushing you to get internships. They're pushing you to get jobs. They're pushing you to get out into the workforce. Okay. So I think that that kind of basic level of resource and pushing is there. Mm-hmm. Now whether and I think as far as experience, I mean every HBCU, I wouldn't say there's probably a tier level to experience because it's just being around all Black people is one thing. Right. But I do think there are probably tiers to resources for specific, majors or universities. Like Claflin University for Computer Science does not have the same resources that a North Carolina A&T, a Spelman, or a FAMU may have, simply because they are larger HBCUs, yep. But also more known outside of the minority community, right? Outside of the Black community. Gotcha. So when your Apples, when your Googles are trying to donate and give their money to a minority, they Google
Howard.
Yeah, they Google HBCU, and the first one that comes up is, gonna be a Howard or a A&T. So they'll have, those more funds. But as far as making sure you have just a opportunity or resource, all HBCUs do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I feel like if I had any regrets, I don't really do regrets or anything like that. But if I could change one thing, it would be going to an HBCU. Because I love the school that I went to. I think it was awesome. It gave me the opportunity to, kind of go to school for free, play football, something that I love. But the experience that I hear everybody talk about as being like around all Black people, all minorities, it's like an experience you can never get. It's like Black people utopia. And it's just, you get people from different areas. You got people from your DC area, from your DMV, you know what I'm saying? Like, and they got that little rivalry that they got going on or stuff like that. So I think that would have been a highlight of just my 4 years of being on this earth, of just being around that experience and being able to come out with more people, more connections, and then knowing that people are just like you. I know going to the school I went to, North Carolina University, it was literally like 2% Black, 98% white, and so it was just like you always adjusted or code switching, right? I did the podcast about code switching with Maya, and I can see, being around so many white, because you don't want to come off as aggressive. I'm a big Black guy with a beard, I come with a different type of style. I come with a different type of lingo. I talk different. And so they don't understand. They've never been face to face with something like that. And so I had to learn. I had to pull back a little bit, right? I couldn't be my true self, but I always wanted to be my true self. Like, even when there was an opportunity to show, like, nah, this is how, Black people do it, or this is how Black people are. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? Your culture is just different. It doesn't mean that you're right and I'm wrong. It's just two different cultures, right? And so I think that's the one thing I wish I could do over is go to HBCU.
Yeah, I would say, I hear some people say that, and I would say you can't go back in time, but come to a homecoming. Yeah. I feel like if you go to a homecoming, you get that experience. Like a couple of years ago, I went to A&T's homecoming. Mm-hmm. Did I know anybody that went to A&T at the time? Absolutely not. Yeah. But I showed up, and it's just the vibe. Like, everybody is loving, and it's a community, and you just feel like it's a family, and you're all the same. So go to a homecoming. Pick a homecoming. A&T's was very fun. I have to get to a few other, but
Maya's been to A&T. I think she said it was a ball. They didn't know anybody. They just went out there and it was a ball. So maybe one day, if I can go with some people that are from A&T and just pull up, I'll definitely do it for the experience and just be like,
Yeah. I think what is in no, that's in Grambling is in Texas, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Grambling is a good one in Texas. Prairie View. Prairie View, I feel like so many people talk about Prairie View. I would pull up on Prairie View.
Man, my cousin told me about Prairie View, and she said, man, it was crazy. She went to the homecoming. She hit me up. She was like, yeah, I'm in Houston, going to Prairie View homecoming. I'm like, oh, word? But I was just like, I'm too old. I don't know the area, so I'm like, I'm gonna just stay in the house. But nah, pushing the conversation forward a little bit. Just going back to your job and what you do. Once you broke, into your industry, or once you started, working at your job, was it everything you expected it to be? And then, asking that question,
It's
what's up, what's popping? Listen, if you made it to this portion of the video, that just means I hit some technical difficulties. Don't worry, I'll be right back. But I gotta spend the time, you know what I'm saying, put everything together. But nah, while we got this intermission, please follow me on all social media, man. Instagram is _66. You can do the podcast is Big Boss Talk _. Please, please, please show love. Comment on the videos. Let me know what you like, dislike. Let me know what questions I can ask to go into more detail. If you love this, just give me a thumbs up and some type of comment. But other than that,
on the business side when I first started, but I learned a lot there because business right is really just soft skills. It's how you talk to people. Can you make the client happy? And do you understand what they're asking for? That's I feel like really anybody can, or not anybody, but that is something most people can develop, right?
Right.
The coding part is a little bit more, I guess, intricate. And like I said, you kind of have to have a brain for that. Like I have a mathematical brain, that kind of stuff fits just for me. Whereas like writing, reading, English, and I know like that's Maya's thing, not me. Like I struggled through our creative writing class in high school. I didn't enjoy it.
It's hard living with a grammar geek. You know what I'm saying? I already got like a heavy dialect, and sometimes I say stuff the wrong way, or it doesn't sound right, and then I'm always getting corrected. So I'm just like, all right, thank you for making me better, because I should be better than this.
But that is definitely not my thing. So it wasn't everything I expected to be, but I knew what I wanted to get out of my job. I knew what I wanted to learn, right?
Got it.
So I knew I wanted to learn these skills. I needed to communicate that to management and my managers and get that knowledge so I could push forward and, be able to eventually become like an account manager,
right.
So I could understand all parts of the business. So that was my experience going in. And I think the real reason why I'm kind of shifting jobs now is really because of the field. Okay. So currently I'm a business analyst, and we have developers, and of course we have clients on the business side. But we are in a marketing field. So, and I am not really interested in marketing or selling people a product or something like that.
Yeah.
That's not, and I know like everything is selling a product, but I don't want to be like, here's 20% off when you come into the store. That
that's not it.
Drive me.
Right.
So yeah, I'm switching from marketing, and actually the company that I'm going to is more healthcare focused, which is interesting to me specifically, during this time that we're in, but also because, like I said, what I do, I get to look at data a lot. So looking at healthcare data is important to me because then I can identify and look and play around with, the differences between minorities, their service, their health, the different statistics there between minorities and, white people. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's great. I mean, what is your goal going into this new job? What is it? Obviously the money is always, I think money is always up there, of course, but sometimes there's careers where it's not just about the money. I think we're coming into times now where it's more the peace of mind to have when working, and then also just being, not being micromanager, not being, pushed to the limit every single day. It's like, let me do my job and let me be, creative, or let me do what you hire me to do. And so, what is your goal going into this new job? Like, what is it that you want to obtain? And where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself long term, or do you see yourself going for a different opportunity, in the years to come?
Yeah, so I'm not really 100% sure. I know going into this job, I want to I want to definitely build onto those years of experience, right?
Right.
And so because that's, I mean, really, people say entry level, and you get to jobs, and you're looking on LinkedIn, and they're like 10 years of experience. And I'm like, girl, I could have had 3 different jobs by now.
I'm telling you.
I'm just like, so definitely, majority is for gaining some more experience. This current job, my goal was to be there for about 3 years, learn and then move on. I think that's kind of some of my same goal here. But my goal here is really to develop more as a business analyst and focus more on the client and managing an entire account. So
Gotcha.
pushing more to a managerial role, but also kind of being more into a HR space with that.
Mm-hmm.
So working with, going through the hiring process, with some of the managers, see what they're looking for. That's very important to me, right? Because I'm where I am because a minority serving program, specifically looked for someone who was Black, or because someone in the company or in HR was also Black and was like, hey, this is a candidate you need to, and advocated for me.
Right.
And I feel like that's what I need to do. Well, that's like my main, focus is going forward.
Return favor. Pass it forward.
Yeah, definitely. Because I've definitely seen, I guess within the last year, race is an important factor, right? People say, qualifications and degrees are you need that. That's what LinkedIn tells you.
Yeah.
But I've seen it for myself that that's not always true.
And that's sad. I mean, it's really sad that we have to not only be the best at all times, always prove ourselves at all times, but then you also have to have people in powerful places to back you up. Not, why does someone that looks like me have to back me up in a powerful place versus somebody that's an HR lady? You see my qualifications, you see what I'm able to do. I am a top candidate. Give me the opportunity versus, well, I know little Tim right here. Tim and his mom, we used to, work together. So I'm gonna give Tim the opportunity, knowing Tim not qualified, and now you sitting here spending money on hiring this guy, going through training. He doesn't last maybe 6 to 8 months to a year, and now you got to go through that whole cycle all over again. So I think jobs, should definitely do better. Not only at the interview process, that's a whole different podcast for itself, the interview process, but just in general, giving people that are qualified the opportunity to do so and come in. So I guess I'm trying to think, what's your, last couple of questions. I don't know if you highlighted this, but what's one of your favorite things about your job? Is it the satisfaction of being able to be a liaison, to be able to solve problems, with different, businesses? And then what are some of those challenges as well? Just for transparency, what are those challenges?
Yeah, so I think my favorite part is I became or I was interested in the liaison kind of role because it's helping people, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's filling a void where, two people don't know how to specifically communicate, and I can fill that gap, and I can help these two people work, or these two entities work together, and benefit both of them. So that's really helpful. I like being able to help both sides and, be able to help others, reach their goals. So I think that is kind of that role. Okay, I forget what you said again.
It's okay. Just the challenges.
Oh, the challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So challenges. So honestly, the challenges are being a Black woman in the field, right? I hate to say that, but like it's not that I can't do my job. I can do my job. I prove that, day in, day out.
Mm-hmm.
And like over time, like it's surprising to me, right? Because managers like, oh my gosh, you do so much, we can't believe you're doing that. I'm like, well, what did you expect? Like, not, I mean, like, you expected me to be what, average or bare minimum?
Well,
Like, that was your
you
yeah. Like, I went above and beyond, and you're shocked, which that's a, like you said, is a whole nother story. But yeah, I think it's being a Black woman in the field, right? Because
Yeah.
especially with working from home, I am I think, well, I don't push, I guess I could be pushing the limits more, but um, when I started at my company, I think I was one of two Black people that were at the entire company. And so, like, making people comfortable with who I was, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, it like you had to do in college. But then as I got to grow in the company, I'm like, okay, well, I'm getting on a Zoom call and I'm gonna have a head wrap on. And I know you don't know what this is, but let's get you used to it, Or
Exactly.
yes, my hair is different today. And my coworker at one time, she was like, "Oh my gosh, when did you do it last night?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I did it last night." And girl, it's really just a wig. Like,
That's it.
it's those things that have to be explained. So
that is
those probably are the challenging things, and knowing when to, um, really, I've had to know when to set boundaries, and learn when to speak up, or possibly step away from a job or opportunity because not being accepted simply for who I am.
Yeah. I can understand. I can relate. So I had an experience where interviewing for the job that I have now, I was so I started dreads. Right, is something that I don't know. I kind of always wanted dreads, but I was always scared because I was always told like you need to have a clean cut, stay sharp because they looking at that, right? They're gonna be more hesitant to hire somebody that has dreads because how do they present themselves in front of their clients? That type of deal. And so going for this job, I was so like I would ask Maya to braid my hair before every interview because I was like I can't have it hanging. It's like I gotta have it braided so it looks clean, it looks neat, right? I feel like I'm a neat person, I try to stay put together, but that was something that was on my mind heavy during the interview process. And sometimes I felt like maybe I didn't get an interview or didn't get the opportunity because of how I looked. I interviewed maybe 6, 7 times for the position that I have now, which is a lot, going in through the studying for the position, going, talking to people, getting their input, and then the actual interview process of just making sure that you stay on your P's and Q's, you be yourself, and that you're selling yourself pretty much, because that's all it is you're just selling yourself in the interview. So I understand, the changing of the hair and just coming in with a head wrap and a wig. I wish I could throw on a wig, but I can't I can't do that. But to wrap this all up, what's the best advice you could give someone about finding a career path or about finding what they truly enjoy? Do you feel like there's not even that? Let's just stick with the question. What the best advice you could give someone about finding their career path?
Yeah. So, everyone says do what you love, right? But how do you really know what you love? So mine was really, what is something that is like a core value to me, that I do whether I'm working or not, and that's helping others, and really being in teams, being a leader as a child, or being in a church play or something.
Yeah.
Like, what was your role in that environment? Were you assisting others? Did you make sure everyone had like their papers, everything was like organized? Is organizing your thing? Is planning your thing? Is communication or mediation your thing? And so for me, helping others, get to their goal was really my thing, and that happened to fall into really the communication between these two fields that I actually really like.
Right.
So that's what I would say. If you have two interests or a interest, but you want to see, how can I incorporate numbers in this business? How can I incorporate writing, or how can I incorporate mediation or something in that? Really figure out what value is important to you, and that's something that you're always doing and you're always willing to give and do. And then I guess find something that you really like, a hobby or a specific area of study, and then find out how you can incorporate it in that area of study.
Gotcha. Okay. That's awesome. Well, you can't get no better advice than that coming from Hannah Hart. I would just tell people, try as many things as you can. A lot of people will want you to figure out a career at 16, 17, and there's so much out there that you don't know yet. And it's like, you can't really tell somebody to figure out what they want to do at that younger age. And some people get it and some people don't. I do know that the average career path change is about 6 to 7 different jobs for the lifespan of an actual human being. So please open up your mind to different things, try different things. It's okay to get on a job, quit it next week because it's not what you want, and go try something different, because that's the only way you really figure out what you love and what you like to do. As long as you see yourself in a consistent pattern as far as like, well, I really like sales. What type of sales do I like, right? Me, I've always been a salesperson. I've been selling candy since
high school.
Yeah, middle school, so it's like selling is what I enjoy and people is what I enjoy. So it's like I got to find something to go through, that it fits in that realm. And so I applaud you for definitely, everything that you've accomplished, everything that you've done. I'm here to tell you that I appreciate you even hopping on this podcast. Like, I love you as a sister. We love you, here out here in Texas. And so I want to see you do great things. We're always praying for you, always wishing you the best. And so if you could, for the conclusion, the last piece is knowing the purpose of what we do here on this podcast or this season. I need you to recommend one person that is dope and, who I should sit down with next, and, just tell me why I should sit down with them. And if we could, maybe you can send me a text, just let me know what their Instagram is, and maybe I can hit them up on Instagram, or if you have their number, I can text them. But we want to keep this trend going because you may know somebody that's in a totally different realm than me. And the whole purpose of this podcast is that when people watch this, they see different people in different careers, but now we're giving them a face or a connection to say, hey, I know she talked about this. Maybe I can hit her up on Instagram or LinkedIn. We're building our own personal black web of connections where, we see a face, we know them talking, and we understand their vibe. And so I think this could be, my hope and dream is this to be way bigger than just me sitting there talking to people, but giving people opportunities to create jobs because they know Hannah is in this particular field. Hey, Hannah, is there an internship at your job? Yeah, I got you. Boom. Where did you hear me from? Well, I heard you from Armand's podcast. Oh, wow, that's my friend. Boom. You know what I'm saying? And that's a beautiful thing to see. So give me one person, and let's see what we got.
Yeah, so I thought about this, right? And I had a really hard time. And so I'm going to come back to you with a specific person.
Okay.
I think, I think one person that you probably already have on the docket, but I think does really cool things and work is Tay Robinson-Locke. I think personally, I would like to hear more about him, what he does, especially because he does so much for the community, right?
Yeah.
So, and he has his own business. So I think that would be really cool. Because again, like my thing is, how do I get more Black people and minorities into this field? How can I open doors? How can I be a branch?
Yep.
And so community is important, and he does a lot there. So I think that could be really cool. But I also think I have a friend in policy, but she's new into her career, so I have to reach out to her. But also, I need to get an educator. With where we are now, education is such a important field, right? It's the basis of everything. So, yeah. I think an educator, but I'm gonna shoot you some names.
Yeah, shoot me some names. If you can, make the introduction for me, just say, hey, this guy's gonna hit you up, nothing crazy. I would love to be able to sit down and just talk with them, see if they're open. Hopefully, once they see this podcast, they get a general understanding of what it's really about. And then they would love to be a part of it. But Tay Locke is definitely on the docket. He's an interesting character. So we definitely got him on the docket. But Hannah, thank you. I hope you can have the remainder of the rest of your day. Thank you for getting up at 11 o'clock, probably before then. But I appreciate you here from Big Boss Talk, the podcast, and we love you. You have a good day, okay?
All right, thank you. Love you guys. Thank you for having me.
See ya.
Tryna pump your gas, get your car shot. Large profit margin on the long shots. Cause young niggas rarely make it off the R block. Night.